Ladies and gentlemen, lots to go through. Plenty of Chelsea news floating left, right, and centre. There's a talk about Mudryk. There's talk about N'Golo Kante. There's talk about Marcus Thuram. There's talks about the injury crisis that Chelsea has. Let's get on with this.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get stuck straight into this. First up, I want to just go through some of the things that David Ornstein has mentioned recently, which will lead to the transfer news anyway. So it goes something like this. Chelsea are going to be disciplined with their spending in January. However, they will want to do business in midfield and forward areas. It's a busy time at Stamford Bridge. So we want to be disciplined. We want to spend and we want to focus on midfield and forward areas. Further goes on to say Chelsea won't be held to ransom in January. Now, I just want to quickly talk about this whole thing about ransom. I don't know if anyone's really holding Chelsea to any sort of ransom. I think this is referring to the Enzo Fernandez deal. Enzo Fernandez's deal is quite clear cut. There was a release clause, 120 million euros. This is no ransom. You pay that, you get the player. Like, have I missed anything? Is there any other sort of different scenarios that's floating around in this particular? But it's quite straightforward. It was always straightforward. You've got the release clause, trigger that, you get your man. If you don't want to trigger it, then don't waste your time, move on. So I'm not really sure what we are talking about when we are saying Chelsea won't be held to ransom. No one's holding Chelsea to anything. You're interested in Enzo Fernandez. So now there's talks about Mudryk. Mudryk apparently is going to be roughly around 80 million or 90 million euros, something like that. Well, is that the ransom that we're talking about? But Chelsea looks like they're interested in Mudryk. So I don't know what this statement is all about. Matt Law goes on to say Chelsea owners remain confident Graham Potter will turn the season around and believe the injuries are largely to blame for the bad run. Chelsea's owners are also confident they could outbid Arsenal for Mudryk, but want assurances he would want to join Chelsea. Now, we'll get to the Mudryk situation. It's a nice segue. And I've always said with Mudryk, it's all well and dandy. You want to talk to, Shaktar, but you need to see whether Mudryk really wants to join or not. I think there's been latest news that kind of suggests that apparently he might be. Graham Potter is ready to put the faith in youngsters amid injury crisis with Lewis Hall and Carney Chukwuemeka pushing for a start on Sunday. That's fantastic. Look, first of all, in regards to owners remaining confident, look, I think majority of the fan base, there is a small portion that's a bit irritated, and that's fine. It's completely understandable because our results are not going our way. But at the end of the day, we're all banking on Graham Potter to turn this season around 100%. I'm patient, but at the same time, let's not mistake patience and criticism as being Potter out. Just because I'm patient, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to criticize if I see anything wrong. So look, Graham Potter's got to start turning things around, and it's got to start from the FA Cup. I believe this time around, I want to expect a win. None of these expected loss. It was a very good performance, in my opinion, against Man City yesterday. I now want to actually beat Man City. This will be the third time Graham Potter faces Man City. Let's get a victory. Let's move on to Fulham, and let's get a victory there as well. And then hopefully we can create a momentum, because let's make something out of this season. Let's not let this season just be a complete waste of time. Now, in regards to Mudryk, this is where we are at the moment, right? Chelsea owners are also confident they could outbid Arsenal for Mudryk. Arsenal, as far as I'm concerned, ladies and gentlemen, are quite staunch as to how much they want to pay, and they don't want to go overs on that particular amount. I think Arsenal are willing to pay something around 60 million euros or something like that. They don't want to pay that additional 20 or 30 million on top of that. And they're not going to budge. But this is the latest that's gone around from Sky Sports now. I don't really know how much we want to believe some of the stuff that comes out from Sky Sports, but this is what's going on. Mudryk would be equally happy to join Chelsea as he would Arsenal. Shaktar value at 85 million, but prepared to structure a deal. I love these structured deals, man. We are very, very known for the structured deals. I know this is a common factor, but common factor in most deals in world football, but it seems to be that Yeah, we're quite diligent on the structure payments. Shakhtar want 88 million pounds. Wow, that's a lot of money to sell Mudryk. Chelsea last night confirmed their interest in talks at the game. Shakhtar chief Dario Serna stayed in Bowley's personal box. So look, okay, before we get into that Marcus Thuram situation, let's talk a little bit about Mudryk. Now, first of all, I've seen clips of Mudryk. I've seen some highlights of certain games for Shakhtar. He is the real deal. He is damn good. There's no doubt about that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. I would love Chelsea to go for someone like Mudryk. And right now, with the injuries of Sterling and Christian Pulisic, albeit it might not be long term, it might be short term, but we needed an attacker anyway. So I'm happy that we're going for them. The issue I have, right? 88 million. I think we just saw a tweet. Shakhtar wants 88 million. If you guys want to have a quick look at this, Fabrizio Romano has mentioned this. Shakhtar want 88 million. Now you tell me. There's been a lot of talks that's been happening in regards to Mudryk, obviously, to Arsenal Football Club. He's been twerking for Arsenal Football Club, and Arsenal Football Club have actually got personal terms agreed with Mudryk. Mudryk only wants Arsenal Football Club. That was the narrative that was floating around. Now you tell me. 88 million pounds for Mudryk. I mean, he's not really played at the highest level. I mean, Shakhtar Donetsk, no disrespect. I know there is a potential. I know there's a hype. I understand that. But it's not like he's lit up the Champions League or anything like that. I know Shakhtar are comparing this with Anthony's deal from Ajax to Man United. But at least, Anthony did something with Ajax in the Champions League as well. Like, I know they didn't win anything, but there was something there, right? I'm not saying with Mudryk there isn't anything there. There is something there as well. But 88 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I think, we talk about how the first tweet that I showed, Chelsea won't be held for any ransom. Like, for me, this is ransom. The Mudryk situation is ransom. But if Chelsea can get this done, kudos, because we need a quality player up front. We definitely need a quality player. Now, you let me know, ladies and gentlemen, how do you feel about the whole scenario of Mudryk twerking for Arsenal Football Club, wanting Arsenal Football Club? Arsenal have shown the interest on this player all along. Our issue at the moment is, yes, we've got, Shakhtar's concentration, we've got their attention, but can we actually get Mudryk's, word? Can we get him to accept personal terms? Once he accepts personal terms and it is actually publicly out there by David Ornstein and or Fabrizio Romano, then I can start thinking, okay, the player will be professional and he's gonna be wanting to join Chelsea Football Club and kickstart his career at Chelsea. Until then, for me, this situation with Mudryk, look, I don't want to build myself up again with what happened with the Enzo Fernandez situation. I'll monitor what's going on, but you let me know. You let me know how you feel about Mudryk. Now, in regards to another forward that's floating around, Chelsea have entered the race to sign Marcus Thuram this winter. Look, out of nowhere, another name. Once again, I don't know whether some of these names we've actually been linked with previously, but it looks like Simon Phillips, he tweeted back in January 5th, a long time ago, that we might have been linked with Marcus Thuram back in the days. So look, I don't mind Marcus Thuram. I've always liked the way he played. Obviously, he had showed immense impact off the bench for France in the World Cup. He's got good quality. He's got pace. He's got power. He's got technical ability as well. I don't mind him. We need help in the forward areas. There's no doubt about that, as I've said. Whether it's Mudryk, whether it's Marcus Thuram, I would probably prefer Mudryk because of his. I think his quality is a little bit better than Marcus Thuram. I think he's younger as well. And the potential of Mudryk is sky high. But let me know what you think about Marcus Thuram. I'm not overly excited, but at the same time, I'm not too perturbed either. I think it's a decent player to get. All right, now we want to talk about the midfield situation. This is quite interesting. Everyone obviously wants to talk about what's happening with the N'Golo Kante scenario, the contract situation. Chelsea are getting closer to extending the contract of N'Golo Kante. They offer him a contract until June 2026 and a salary close to what he currently receives. I mean, How do you guys feel about that? Sources have told me today that N'Golo Kante is now expected to extend and is close to reaching an agreement with Chelsea. Now, look, a few days ago when we were heavily linked with Enzo Fernandez, I think we're still linked with Enzo Fernandez. I said that it made sense that we renewing Kante because we're spending a lot of money on Enzo Fernandez. We may not have the budget to go out there and splash more money in midfield, so it makes sense to renew his contract. Now, to renew his contract, I also stipulated that it's very important to figure out how long is the terms going to be, and what will be the wages. Well, until June 2026, so that's 3-year contract, and the salary will be pretty much the same as what he's on right now, which is about roughly around 300k or 290k per week pounds. If we don't get Enzo, for me, then it's like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing? I was only on board because I thought, okay, Enzo is coming in, which is going to transform our midfield, and then you can have supplementary players like Kante, like Kovacic, and so on and so forth. Even if you want to keep Jorginho. But now with the fact that, okay, maybe there's no Enzo, I don't know whether we are going to get any other midfielders in January. First week of January is almost over. There's reporters out there saying that we are still interested in a midfield, but we'll see what happens. But let's just say, for argument's sake, there is no midfielder coming in January. I mean, N'Golo Kante for 3 more years, with the level of salary that he's on, with the injury history that he has, he's barely played for us. I don't remember the last time where he's played a good stretch of games. He's barely played for us this season. This season is a write-off for N'Golo Kante. I think he's scheduled to come back somewhere around February or end of February. There's a lot that would have happened by then. Last season as well, he didn't feature a lot of the time. So 3 more seasons, we better believe that there's going to be no more injuries. And the way our medical staff, they're moving, I don't find confidence in them, because it seems like a lot of our players just keep falling and just, they're getting injured left, right, and center. They're breaking. Do you know what I mean? They're breaking like glass at the moment. So what confidence do we have that N'Golo Kante, all his issues are now behind him, to give him 3 more years on the same contract? Look, personally, as I said, if I can see that there is a new midfielder coming through, an exciting prospect, doesn't necessarily have to be Enzo Fernandez. I've even talked about McAllister previously, Caicedo, whoever else. Edson Alvarez, I don't really fancy him, but okay, no problem, still decent. I need to see someone new coming in, and then it makes sense. If not, keeping the same midfield that we currently have, I just don't understand it. But once again, you guys let me know how you feel about that scenario. Now, in regards to Enzo Fernandez, this is from Matt Law. Graham Potter is believed to have backed the bid for Enzo Fernandez, and Chelsea aren't ruling out making another bid this month. Now, I just want to say, Brighton scouted Enzo Fernandez during the time when Benfica was looking at Enzo Fernandez, and eventually, obviously, Enzo Fernandez ended up going to Benfica. Brighton actually scouted this player along with a few other players, but they scouted Enzo Fernandez as well. So Graham Potter should know everything about Enzo Fernandez, and I'm not surprised that he's backing this, and I'm not surprised he's pushing Chelsea to bid for it. This was another reason I was getting excited, because I was like, well, it looks like this is, Graham Potter signing. He wants this. So I was like, Todd Bowley, give your man who you've selected to manage our football club the opportunity to buy his player. Now, we're stuck with the release clause scenario. Apparently, we've never wanted to trigger that. So I don't know what business we really have. What are we really trying to do? Benfica is quite staunch that you can get your man. You can get your man, just trigger the release clause. That's the rules and regulation. If you're not going to trigger the release clause, then don't bother us. Don't bother the player. The player's mind apparently is out of it at the moment. He's not playing for Benfica. Benfica's got a match coming up. He's not featuring in that match because mentally he feels like he's a little bit, bit topsy-turvy at the moment. His mind is lost with all this Chelsea interest, and the fact that nothing is going accordingly at the moment in terms of the move to Chelsea. he's a bit mentally rattled. So what are we going to do? What are we doing with this Enzo Fernandez deal? Are we going to go back? Are we going to give them something improved? There was talks about perhaps giving Hakim Ziyech or also a couple of players in the likes of David Datro, Fofana, and I think Andre Santos as well. Two players that we've recently just brought in, who I thought was going to be the part of the development squad initially, and then we'll see whether they can be part of the starting team, or are we just going to send them off to loan? So look, we'll see what happens in this Enzo Fernandez situation. Maybe it's not all done and dusted. Official confirmed: Andre Santos has signed a new Chelsea player. Andre Santos has signed as new Chelsea player on long-term contract from Vasco da Gama. Understand Chelsea will pay 12.5 million euros fee to Vasco for Brazilian talent born in 2004. He is in London since last week. So this is apparently done. There's pictures of Andre Santos with Omari Hutchinson. So you best believe he's a Chelsea player, obviously. I'm happy. I'm happy. This is a one of those opportunities for the future. This guy could turn out to be a superstar. I'm all down for that. But what is the plan for him now? Is he going to be part of the first team? Is he going to be part of the development squad? Is he going to be loaned out? It's something that we need to see. Where is his quality at the moment? What is his level? Is he Chelsea level right now? We'll find out very, very soon. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, about the whole injury scenario that's going around. Raheem Sterling. This is the latest. Raheem Sterling is having a scan today to determine the extent of his injury. Sterling does not want to rush his return, but he's hoping he does not miss the game against Liverpool on January 21st. So you can clearly tell the injury isn't like a long-term thing, and it was quite evident when he got that injury yesterday. He got up, he was feeling his hamstring, but it wasn't as if he was, in immense pain and whatnot. So I said it in the watch along that this is probably about 2 to 3 weeks max. We don't want to rush him, and it looks like it's something that's going to be in that vicinity, in that time frame. Now, there's a bigger issue though. Obviously, we saw Pulisic get injured, and there's been so many other injuries that we already have. So there's a bigger issue, and there's a bigger talk in regards to what is going on with our medical staff room. And this is the latest from Nizar Kinsella. Chelsea players concerned. So players are now concerned by injury crisis after medical team revamp. So there was a revamp, if you guys remember. The previous medical team gone, abolished, sent away, along with many other previous people that were part of the Chelsea, Chelsea setup. New people have come through under the new ownership, and players seems to be concerned. Nizar further goes on to say a private physiotherapy firm used by celebrities, including Dave Grohl, Morrissey, and Katie Price, has stepped up in place for long-serving staff. Even still, they have overseen some injuries that some believe avoidable. There you go. Some believe some of these injuries would have been avoidable, and maybe the current staff not doing the right thing. James's personal physio, hinted at anger towards the reintroduction of his client to playing after he returned from injury after the World Cup. There you go. If you guys remember, James Ralph, Reece James's personal physio, he put a story on Instagram, and he showed his anger towards the situation. Why did we use Reece James so quickly? So maybe this is probably true. Maybe some of the players are concerned about the new medical team that are probably not competent enough. And right now, we probably have some grounds to think there is something wrong. You can't have this many players falling down injured left, right, and center. I mean, what is the physio team doing? Are they actually looking after these players? Are they actually looking after their recovery post-match? Doing the work on their body and making sure that they're in their optimum level. How is all of these players falling down? How? Training sessions, their diet, are everything being monitored? It needs to be questioned, because right now it is strange. There's some stats going around in the whole of Europe. Chelsea's had something like 90 plus injuries, which was 16 or 20 more than any other clubs. Like Chelsea are leading the race in terms of injured players in Europe. So it's quite mad. It's quite mad. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you thought about everything that we've talked about in regards to Mudryk, in regards to Kante, in regards to Enzo Fernandez, and all of these injury scenarios that's going around. I would love to hear what you have to say. Smash the like button if you're here and you've enjoyed it. And if you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. I shall see you guys for a live stream tomorrow early, much like every other day. And we'll talk about all the latest on Chelsea news. Until then, take care. See ya.